Hey, what is going on, guys? I'm coming to you live from the Dominican Republic. We're going to talk about NBA DFS. We got a two-game slate here on Thursday. If you're a first-time viewer, welcome to my channel. Again, my name is DK. I cover Draftkings, NBA Top Shot, Prize Picks, and Super Draft. Super Draft is the sponsor of today's video. Make sure to use that discount code DKDFS for a $50 match on a $50 deposit. They do have player prop contests where you can win up to 20 extra money, as well as multiplier format. So again, check out Super Draft. Really excited to be working with them. And if you guys are looking for more in-depth content for DFS, I do offer that on patreon.com. You can check it out, linked down below, NBA, USFL, and esports package. But all right, so let's first recap my lineup here from tonight. So this is the last night I'll be able to play DFS until Monday. So a little bit tilted about not being able to have action on the next couple of days of DFS, but once again, it was a phenomenal night. We keep the hot streak going here. So I basically loaded up on a lot of Memphis, going with Tyus Jones, a low-owned Jaren Jackson Jr., Adams, and Dylan Brooks. And Memphis won by like 60. I mean, they absolutely destroyed Golden State, basically waved the white flag like midway through the third. In the first game, I had Drew Holiday with Giannis, ran it back with Derek White and Marcus Smart. So all in all, it was another great night. I was a couple points away from another couple $1,000. But yeah, third place finish. I am not mad about that at all. Over a 6x my entry fee. So once again, we keep the hot streak going here for the playoffs. And yeah, hoping to keep it going for you guys. Since again, I will not be able to play here for the next couple days since I am, again, out of the country. But let's talk about this one. We'll start off with Miami and Philadelphia. So on the Miami side, again, they're playing on the road. We already have Kyle Lowry confirmed out, which is going to make things a little bit easier. So we'll start at the top with Jimmy Butler. He's just a super safe play, right? We know we're getting out of Jimmy Butler. He's going to play probably close to 40 minutes. He's going to do everything for the team. He's going to rebound. He's going to do, get some assists since Lowry's out, and he's going to score the ball. So I think Jimmy Butler is a very, very safe player there at the top. Bam Adebayo is kind of just there for me at 7-4. I'm not prioritizing him. He was pretty popular last slate, surprisingly. I didn't really get it. I know the price seems a little bit cheap, but I just don't want to, target Bam Adebayo against Joel Embiid. So really, for me, it's nothing more than a contrarian dart throw with Bam Adebayo. Now, again, with Lowry out, it's really going to open up some value here for Miami. So we'll start with Oladipo at 5-6. I don't love the price. However, I think we do get somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 minutes from Oladipo, and he'll be, a relatively high usage guy when he comes off the bench. So I think he's a pretty solid play there in the mid-range. Max Strus, I'd be careful here. Again, they have him listed as questionable. He's playing. Everyone in Miami here is playing. It's just annoying they keep doing that. But he had 10 rebounds, also shot 7 of 13. I don't think that's going to happen again. So for me, if I was able to play tomorrow, I would be full fading Max Strus. I think ownership will be inflated. I don't think he gets 10 rebounds again. I also don't think he shoots like 70% from the field. So Strus for me is a pretty easy fade at that price point and probably increase ownership. Now, PJ Tucker, you guys know I'm still in just immense pain from that last game because I played him here at relatively, I guess he was pretty popular. But the next slate comes out and goes for 30 fantasy points, just typical DFS. But with PJ Tucker, he's probably playing somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 35 minutes and most likely getting you 15 to 20-ish fantasy points. So 4.7 does feel a little bit overpriced. Gabe Vincent at 4.4, I would be a little bit careful as well. He played 28 minutes, but also smashed in garbage time. I think on average, we're getting probably around 20 minutes or so from Gabe Vincent, which makes him a fair value play. But again, might be a bit over-owned because of box score watchers. Again, he really got there for people because of the blowout last game. And then Dwayne Dedmon, we know we're getting out of Dedmon. He's going to play the backup 5, most likely play 10 to 12 minutes. He's a fair value play. You did see a little bit of Duncan Robinson in the regular rotation last game. I'm not sure if that happens again. And I don't think it's worth it to go there. So let's move on to Philadelphia. And we have Joel Embiid listed as questionable again. He's going to play. So with Embiid at 9.7, I know it's do or die, but right now it's nothing more than a contrarian option. I would rather go to some other spend ups. I'd rather go to Jimmy for a bit more. I'd rather go to Luka in a do or die game than Joel Embiid. So Embiid, again, more of a contrarian play. Harden at 8.7 kind of just looks okay to me. He had the big game 2 games ago. But other than that, he's been hovering in like the 35 fantasy point range. So again, I don't love Harden. I know it's do or die time for Philly. Harris and Maxey are a little bit easier to get to. Like, we should get around 40 minutes from Tobias Harris. He's a guy that outside of the last game has been relatively consistent, where Maxey's been a little bit boom or bust, but he's the cheapest of, technically the big four here for Philly. So Harris and Maxey, I think, are a little bit easier to get to for their price points. I mean, you know my thoughts on Danny Green, right? He was about 25% owned last slate. He busted, thankfully, but he can get you 25 to 30 fantasy points if he's knocking out his shots. So I'm at 4-2. I think he's a fair value play. Other than that, I mean, you saw a big game from Paul Reed last game because he played in garbage time, which was a little bit tilting because I played him a few games ago, and he did not close in garbage time. But again, he closed in garbage time last game. I think on average, you're getting about 10 minutes or so from Paul Reed. So be careful with Paul Reed. People might try to chase that. And then I just don't really trust anyone else, whether it be Niang or Middleton or Thibault. I mean, if you want to take a dart throw on all those guys in tournaments, you can. For me, I just don't think it's worth it. All right, and then Phoenix and Dallas. So on the Phoenix side, you have Booker at 8.8, Paul at 8K. I mean, Paul has been really, really bad the last 3 games. Basically going for 25 fantasy points. Now, I know last game was a blowout. 2 games ago, he fouled out in 23 minutes. And then 3 games ago, he was just awful in 37 minutes. But I think Paul is a decent contrarian play. He was pretty popular lastly. I would guess that ownership drops because he was a letdown at high ownership last game. And then Devin Booker at 8.8K probably has a little bit of a higher ceiling, maybe a little bit of a lower floor if he's not knocked down to shots. But again, is also $800 more expensive. DeAndre Ayton at 7K was on pace for a pretty big game. Only played 22 minutes. He dealt with some foul trouble. Had he not gotten early foul trouble in the first quarter, he could have gone for 50 plus. So I like Ayton quite a bit here. Again, no one on Dallas can really stick with him. In the mid-range, we have Bridges and Crowder. Both guys. So Bridges should play about 40 minutes if he stays out of foul trouble. Crowder most likely plays about 35 or so minutes. Now, Crowder was in massive foul trouble last game. And again, if anyone really on Phoenix gets in foul trouble outside of Ayton, it's going to be Cam Johnson that benefits. So if you think someone gets in foul trouble, you can look to Cam Johnson. But I do like Bridges and Crowder. I think they're both pretty safe, assuming no foul trouble. And I will say there's a decent chance one of those guys get in foul trouble defending Luka, whether it be Bridges or Crowder. And then Cam Johnson at 4 or 5 might be a little bit overowned. I would be a little bit careful here. He played 25 minutes last game. He also got lucky with the minutes because of massive Jay Crowder foul trouble. So if there was no foul trouble for Cam Johnson, he was probably only playing about 18 minutes in that game. So he might be a little bit overowned based on last game. And if neither Bridges or Crowder get in foul trouble, again, I think you could see under 20 minutes of Cam Johnson. So I think he makes for an interesting fade at, I think, pretty high ownership. And the value here is where it gets tricky. So McGee and Payne basically got DNPs last game. It was Biyombo and Shamet that got the minutes. So Landry Shamet, we know, is an awful point per minute guy, but he did play 19 minutes. He's playable in a large field tournament. And then Bismack Biyombo at 3-2. So if you're confident that we're not going to see McGee, basically like we did last game, I mean, we saw 2 minutes of McGee. If we're going to get strictly the backup 5 run for Biyombo, he's certainly in play at 3.2K. He's not as good of a point per minute guy as Biyombo, but if we get like 14, 15 minutes of Biyombo, sure, he's playable. If you think they go back to McGee, then yeah, you can consider him. But it's not a good sign based on what we saw last game. And Phoenix did win that game. So I would assume they run a similar rotation of Biyombo and Shamet. And then finally, Dallas, Luka. Again, it's do or die at 11.5. If I was able to play, I would basically be locking in Luka. Don't care how expensive he is. Don't care how popular it's going to be. Luka Doncic is going to play like 42 to 44 minutes in this game. I absolutely love him at the top if you can afford him. Brunson at 6'3", I also think is a pretty safe play. He's been the number 2 here on offense. He's a guy that can also contribute in a lot of different ways. So I like Brunson. Finney-Smith and Kleber are kind of just there. Like, we should get 40-plus minutes from both. Finney-Smith came back down to earth after the outlier game last game. And then Reggie Bullock is at 5K. He struggled a bit of late, but he should play close to that 40 minutes, which makes him playable. And Maxi Kleber, they basically booted Dwight Powell out of this rotation. So assuming no foul trouble, I do think we get close to 30 minutes, which makes him a fair play in the mid-range. Dinwiddie at 4.6. I mean, minutes for him have been down. I do think on average we get around 20 minutes or so from him, which makes him playable in a tournament setting. But like I said, you're not going to feel great about it. I mentioned Dwight Powell. He's basically been kicked out of this rotation. I mean, he's starting each half, but basically playing 4 to 5 minutes in each half. I just don't think it's enough for me to go there. Bertans has been shooting the ball well. Last couple games, 4 of 6 and 3 of 4. So if you want to take a shot on him in tournaments, you can. But again, he's very, very scoring dependent. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. So again, if you do enjoy, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also, make sure to check out my Prize Picks videos. We are now 9-1 over the last 3 games. We hit the Drew Holiday over PRA, and we got lucky with the Desmond Bane under PRA, but hey, I'll take it. It's better to be lucky than good, so we've been on a hot streak over there. Make sure to check out my video right after this. But thanks again, guys. I appreciate the support as always, and I will see you all in the next one.